Okay, well, Happy New Year, everyone. Today is January 3rd, 2022. My name is Tim Flood, and I own a small company called Iron Hills Development. I buy and develop rural properties in Oklahoma and Texas, and I'm real excited to bring you a new property ready to go on the market. So let me just going to do a little screen share here and show you a little bit about the property from the convenience of the laptop. So first thing I want to do is I want to use Google Earth here, and I'm going to zoom in. Let me change this filter just a little bit here. We want to be able to see the. Okay, so it's the property in red, 7.1 acres in Titus County, Texas. And you can see the property here. So what I want to do first is to zoom way out to give you some context as to where this is. It's in a small town, but you can see right over here where the hand is. I've still got the property in the center of the map here. So let's zoom out to give you some context. All right, so here's Oklahoma City, Fort Worth, Dallas, and then Louisiana, Shreveport over here. So this property is going to be in Titus County, which is about 2 hours east of Dallas. You can start to see the red of the property. All right, so here's DFW, I-30, 2 or 2.5 hours, depending on where you're at in the Metroplex. Here's a little town called Mount Pleasant. Here's a little town called Argo. And the mailing address for this property is actually Cookville. So I'll get to the actual address here in a minute. But anyway, so just to give you context to where it's at, it's about 2 or 2.5 hours east of DFW. It's literally just minutes off the interstate. This is super convenient. This is really a nice feature on this property. So here's I-30, exit 170 going eastbound, FM 1993, and then you turn north. And then really you just follow it around 4 or 5 minutes. So you're really just a couple minutes from the interstate, real easy access to DFW. This is really super. We zoom in on the property a little bit here. Oh, I'll tell you what, let me do this. Let me show you this on Google Maps. The address of this property, 8044 FM 1001, Cookville, Texas. And you can see it'll take you right to my property. Okay, so 8044 Farm to Market Road, 1001, Cookville, Texas. And just for grins, I'm going to show you the little street view, man. That's the neighbor's pasture. And here's the property. Oh, wait. I've gone. Hang on. Sorry about that. Somehow I didn't put the little marker at the right place. Let's try this again. Yeah, there we go. There's the property. So you can see here, there's a neighbor house right here. And then here's the gate and entrance to the property. Now, this was taken, I'm going to say a few years ago, because when I bought the property, it was really overgrown. It was a mess. So this part here that looks a little bit like yard did not exist. And then this through the trees, you can't see that, it's pretty thick, but even back beyond there where you can see all this sunshine, this was just terribly overgrown and really just rough looking. So here's the property here. I did spend a little bit of money to get a piece of equipment and a mulcher in there. So it's going to look more like this. You'll have to do a little work to get the grass reestablished. But anyway, it was just really in rough shape. So here's your address, 8044 Farm to Market, 1001, Cookville, Texas. Let me go back to Google Earth here. So again, here's the property. And then remember, we found Cookville down here, and then here's this little community called Argo, and it's just right off the interstate. So a few little things notable about this property: 7.143 acres. I did just have the property surveyed, so to verify, and you'll see corner pins with pink survey flagging and pink caps on the rebar stakes in the ground. You'll actually find them right here. There's a fence post, and this is a fence line here. So this is readily apparent. And you'll see this corner pin right here, also readily apparent right out kind of in this, where this man here has his yard maintained. There's one little pin here in the trees. And you can see this property kind of makes a little dog leg right here before it goes back straight. And then here's a pin right out in here. Now, to be honest with you, I didn't walk all the way to the back of the property, but you can see this is a clear demarcation, a fence line to this clear pasture. So I'm sure the pins are going to be back there as well, because this is a fence line on this western edge all the way up and down. This man over here, there's no fence here exactly, but anyway, it's pretty clearly marked. So you'll see, and so it's 7.143 acres. This property actually has a home of some kind on it. It's maybe better to call it a structure. It really depends on if you're like a hardcore DIY person, if you really like doing projects, or if you just want to knock it down and put another home in. But there's electricity on site and there's rural water. So that's two really strong features of this property with this house. And I've taken a bunch of photo and video of the house. I'm just going to be honest with you, it's in rough shape. I don't know if you could fix it up or not. I personally would not. If I was buying this property for me, I would look at possibly salvaging some of the material. This roofing material for the roof is in pretty good shape if you're into that kind of thing. This barn over here is pretty cool, just that it's an old barn. A guy, looked like an old country homesteader kind of guy had it. There's a desk and some different tools, and he's got the little peanut butter screw jars like maybe your grandpa had. It's kind of just interesting whether you wanted the barn or not. I don't know. The rural water service, actually, I think we can see it here, but comes in over here to the west of this driveway in a straight line down here. And let me pause this recording for just a minute. So the water line then comes down, rural water service comes down here to the west side of this driveway. There's a spigot, a hose bib spigot right in here. And then the water service for the home comes up right here. You'll have to turn the water on. Let me show you this. TRISUD.com, Tri Special Utility District, 903-572-3676. I've talked to them. They can reactivate the account with the deposit and so forth. You can work that out with them, pretty affordable. But you can have a rural water service, or the potable water, you can have that turned on within a week of buying this property. I scratched around out here for the meter. I thought the meter was going to be on the public side, the road right away. Some of the locals said, no, the meter's going to be in here. So to be honest, I didn't see the meter, but I did for a fact see this hose bib that's here. And I saw the water that comes up and feeds this house. And I did talk to the people at the utility district. So I'm sure the rural water's there. And of course, the electricity is here and already feeding this house and all that. So you can research that out and use the electricity to your own needs, whether you want to attempt to fix this little house up, or whether you want to just demolish it and put in a mobile home or what have you. There's a little pond on this property that I feel like this satellite imagery was taken. It's a little more full in this satellite imagery than when I bought the property than currently. So I can't speak too much about it, except to say the pond's there, whether it needs a source to be fed or filled up or repaired or any of that. I can't speak to any of that, but there is a pond here on site. One of the things you're going to notice on this property, on this satellite imagery, is this large amount of trash, and it's not really showing up the amount of brush and overgrown that this property was, but it was terribly overgrown. And so I found a local guy with some equipment and some laborers, and we got the property all cleaned up and mulched. So he went in there with his skid steer and just mulched the heck out of everything and opened this whole property up. So you'll be able to see all this. There's lots of good organic matter from all the tree trimmings and all. So if you want to turn it into a luxurious lawn, you'll have to do some work. But if you want to just turn it into something more natural, permaculture kind of thing, you really got a lot to work with here. So that's about it. Let me zoom out just a little bit here. Let me show you a little bit about nearby. So again, it's 2 or 2.5 hours to Dallas, Fort Worth. I live closer to Fort Worth side. It's 2.5 hours from my front door to the property. If you lived on the east side of Dallas, it'd be 2 hours. Little town of Mount Pleasant is the county seat of Titus County. And this little downtown is pretty cool. I've been down there a time or two, and they have a little pizza beer joint here. And this big building here is a cheesecake place, a cheesecake bakery, and they make sandwiches and little lunch plates and stuff. And I've been in there and eaten a handful of times, quite good. Now, I didn't really research the town much beyond that. And if you want information on Mount Pleasant, you can just go here to Wiki. You can just see, here's their website. 15,000 people live there is what I was leading up to. So it's a real small town, quiet way of living, country access close to DFW, close to the interstate, really convenient, great. This is great access here. This is a farm to market road, asphalt maintained. This is going to be a really nice property. You've got neighbors who keep their properties nice and clean. I didn't meet too many of the neighbors, didn't get a lot of hassle or feedback or static. There's a guy, you can't even hardly see his house. It's hidden. This guy here, I met him. He'd be your neighbor. Really, really a nice guy, elderly gentleman. There's some rural churches close by if you're into that, or if you wanted to go into town, into Mount Pleasant. Lots of things to do and see. Easy drive, here's the easy drive to DFW, Shreveport, and Little Rock. So this property is just real convenient. Country property that's just going to be close and convenient to everything. Okay, so I think that's about it. Just kind of a quick recap. 7.14 acres, recently surveyed, 2 structures on site. That is kind of a do your own due diligence. I would assume that this house is on a septic system, but I cannot speak to the condition of the septic system, but I do know there's rural water and electricity available. So those are 2 good things. Make sure to do your due diligence on the sanitary, the septic tank, whatever inspections or whatever you'd want to do on that. So great little property. Country convenience, country living with convenient access to metro and town areas, and just a great little property. So if you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Tim at ironhillsdev.com, Tim at ironhillsdev.com.